I was born in Bombay, India. I grew up in a beautiful house that was right by the beach. It was Juhu Beach. Right from an early age, it was instilled that you always had to be the best at anything you did, and you always had to live a life that was bigger than yourself. My years at MIT were among the most productive years of my life. I showed up there at age 17 with $50 in my pocket and big ideas and big dreams. I was known as Mr. Real-Time because I was the first person who actually pioneered the use of real-time software. First fell in love with basketball when I coached my daughter Anjali's basketball team. And so I came up with a math equation for the game. They ended up executing on the math equation. We ended up winning all the games and taking the team to the national championship. I just fell in love with the game. I'd been a corner of the Golden State Warriors for a couple of years and was the vice chairman. We got booed and then we started winning. There was a story that emerged out of Sacramento that a group led by Steve Ballmer in Seattle had a deal to buy the team and they were going to move the team to Seattle.
It is not an exaggeration to say he saved the Kings for Sacramento.
This looks like an arena.
Yes, it's getting there.
It's here.
Vivek is always thinking about the next great revolution in America.
Vivek worked with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and Pacers owner Herb Simon to create the 2019 NBA India Games, the first NBA games ever played in his home country.
You know, I had this vision, we could take this sport and we could make it a global sport.
But I think what Vivek really wanted to do was use basketball as a sport to both, contribute to the California Sacramento community, but also to bring this world together.
I believe that for myself, my best days are ahead of me. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up, but hopefully over the next 10 or 20 years, I'll have some answers.
Incredible to see all the amazing things Vivek has already done in life, and I'm sure there is even more to come. Here to introduce Vivek and his many accomplishments is another man who needs no introduction. This is Shaquille O'Neal.
Congratulations, Vivek, on receiving the Change in the Game Visionary Honor from the Asian Society of Southern California. A well-deserved recognition for a true Renaissance man. I like to tell people that Vivek and I became especially good friends because we share so many things in common. First, we're both proud fathers. We're both competitive. We both speak out for social justice. And interestingly, we both began our careers in a similar way. Vivek started out in this country with only $50 in his pocket. And I started out in the NBA with only a 50% free throw average. And of course, today, we now both worth considerably more than $50. But curiously, my free throw percentage is still around 50. Vivek and I clicked immediately, especially when I found out that Vivek has more nicknames than I do. Vivek has been known as the Big Dreamer, Mr. Real-Time, Big Software, the Indian Baller, and even Big Savior after he stepped in to purchase the Kings for Sacramento. In all seriousness, Vivek, I salute you for the great accomplishments, for your big heart to trying to make the world better. You're truly an inspiration, a role model, and yes, a game changer to us all. I'd like to close now by repeating the Hindi words that Vivek chanted when the Kings went to India. Jai Ho, was translated victory be. So Jai Ho, my brother, Jai Ho.
Here to explore more of Vivek's journey is Chairman and CEO of Mandalay Entertainment Group, which produced The Last Dance, this year's epic documentary on Michael Jordan. A fellow NBA team owner, he is co-executive chairman of the Golden State Warriors. Please welcome Peter Guber.
All right, and thank you. I'm glad to be able to support my friend Vivek, who I've known for almost a full decade. And, really one of the thoughts that I had is, what was that moment as a young boy, a young Bombay boy who didn't grow up playing basketball that said, maybe I can own an NBA team? Where was that seminal element, Vivek, that made you think about doing that?
So Peter, I have you and Joe to thank for that because you guys gave me the opportunity to be part of this great fraternity. But it all actually started, the whole dream started for me in Bombay. When you get to be older, you look back at your life and you say, was there a defining moment, a point that made you who you were? And for me, it happened when I was a little boy in Bombay and I had my ear plastered to a little transistor radio. And I heard these magical words, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And of course, I was listening to the Voice of America broadcast the moon landing live all the way to Bombay. And I thought to myself, wow, who are these people that were able to take a man, put him in a box, and propel him 250,000 miles away to land on a rock flawlessly the very first time? What brilliance, what ingenuity, what courage. And I said, you know what, I want to be one of them. I want to somehow get to America. So I took my studies seriously. I studied science and technology, applied to MIT. They obviously made a mistake in the admissions process. And I ended up on the shores of Boston with $50 in my pocket. And that's where my journey started. But I've been very fortunate throughout my life, Peter. So you and Joe gave me a chance to be a part of this fraternity. MIT accepted me. And of course, now the Asia Society is giving me this honor. So thank you to Charlie, thank you to Josette, thank you to all the folks that do this incredible work with the Asian Society. This is incredibly humbling, and I'm in great company, and I don't deserve to be there. But namaste, and thank you for the opportunity.
You made history as the first Indian American to own an NBA team, and then again by taking the Kings to India for the NBA's first preseason games in India. Tell me about that moment that you were there in India. I mean, that's got to be very formative for you. That there you were back with the team in India. What's your dream and aspiration for India and the NBA?
Yeah, so Peter, you can imagine what this must have felt like for me. I left the country. I left Santa Cruz Airport in Bombay as a 17-year-old. And then one day I show up on a plane and my players and my colleagues, we get out and you see these massive billboards as you drive into the city and they're welcoming us, they're welcoming the NBA. I grew up playing cricket. I left India with nothing. And so now all of a sudden, the entire city is plastered with pictures of our players. It's plastered with welcome signs. The Gateway of India, which is the gateway to Bombay, this iconic site, there's videos playing there, showing the game, showing our players, showing famous NBA legends. And then finally, it's game time, or for you, showtime. And I'm sitting there courtside. There's a who's who of people, of Indians in the crowd, actors, celebrities, politicians, comedians. My family's there. This is my hometown of Bombay. And this game that I've fallen in love with, 2 NBA teams are going to play a real preseason game there. The ball goes up in the air, the game starts, and it's the moment of a lifetime.
So take that another step further. Look at China. You're familiar with the fact that Yao Ming came out of China and changed the nature of how we look at Chinese players, and the audience was big there. What do you see for growing the NBA in India and really finding players in India which are local players that can be part of the NBA or the World Basketball Association?
Well, Indians, they love sports. They love to celebrate. They love all kinds of cultural activities. And basketball to me is more than a sport. I'm friends with kind of the Brad Pitt of India. His father is famous, Amitabh Bachchan. The son is Abhishek Bachchan, also an actor. And he told me that when he saw basketball, he fell in love with it because it represented more than a game. It had a swagger to it. It had a vibe to it. And this is what Indians love. So while basketball will never surpass cricket as the national pastime, I see it really as being a strong number two. It's already one of the fastest growing sports in the country. There's literally 100 million people that have been watching this sport over the last few years. The numbers are staggering, and I fully expect that it'll become one of the largest markets for the NBA. I also fully expect that over time, like within the next 10 years, there will be players from India, players of Indian origin that make their way into the NBA.
So you're a location-based entrepreneur. In other words, you're in the butts and seats or fans and stands business like us, and it's really, a powerful interruption that's happened, and the idea of the revenue from not having, or the lost revenue of not having fans in the stands and whatever collateral revenue you may lose is not good. What do you take from that shutdown? How long can the business sustain itself without putting fans in the stands because of the COVID pandemic?
Yeah, so of course it's been tragic. COVID's been tragic, and there's been many people that have died, and it's had a terrible economic impact. But what it's also done in some ways is that it's catapulted us into the future. So it's taken us into 2023. So if you want to know what the future looks like, just go outside, because this is the future. And it's accelerated many of the trends. And so after all, even before COVID, less than 1% of people actually viewed the game in the arena. Most of them were seeing it on some kind of a screen. And we've actually had to innovate in terms of how do we make it even more interesting for those people that are not in the arena. Of course, Peter, we both own arenas, and so we want fans to come back. There will be more and more advanced testing techniques. We're experimenting with breathalyzers where you blow into a tube and within 10 seconds you get a result. There's saliva tests. There's a vaccine, multiple vaccines on the horizon. Our arena is also completely contactless, so that you can actually walk in, and if you opt in, it recognizes you. Everything is contactless. You can be in your suite and you can pour a drink, and the sensor in the bottle tells you exactly how much you poured. So again, there's very little human contact. So we were doing this anyways to eliminate friction from the fan experience, and that will continue. So in my mind, we will have fans back, and we'll actually have them in the next season. Maybe not at full capacity, but I do fully expect that at the end of the day, Peter, you and I know that really this is the communal fireplace. In the old days, you built cathedrals, you built town squares. That's where people gathered. You don't do that anymore. So this is the cathedral of the future. This is where people come to celebrate, to worship, to connect with other people. And that's what makes us human. So fans will be back, and I believe that technology will prevail. And it's our job to make it safe, to make it secure, and to make it even better than it was before.
Do you have any vision of some of the elements of technology that will be transcendent, that will emerge, not necessarily this week or this year or next year, but over the next few years, that will bring the sport another whole element, both of revenue and of fan engagement?
Yeah, I believe that we're already experimenting with these contact lenses, which give you a 3D augmented view. So you can look at a game from any position, any angle. You can look at replays. You can look at the ball in flight. We're already looking at how to make that experience available to everyone, not just somebody who's sitting on the floor. People are finding more and more ways to connect. We're, of course, looking at ways that you can have even more data. So if you can wear straps and instruments that give you information. And then, of course, there's the whole game on top of the game, which will be even bigger than the game itself. So now that people are starting to state by state legalize sports betting, that'll be an avenue of new opportunity as well. So I believe, Peter, that from a business point of view, this is a great investment. And in 10 years, will I still use my iPhone? I don't know. But will I still watch the Kings and the Warriors? For sure.
Well, beyond business, beyond your business success, you've always aspired to make a difference in the world. You rescued the Kings from efforts to abandon Sacramento, and you committed to the betterment of California's capital city. You've also spoken up in support of minorities and fellow immigrants seeking equal treatment and opportunities in the U.S. Explain your concept of Civilization 3.0 and how you can, within and probably outside of the NBA, work to advance social justice and unify people at what's really a critical juncture.
Yeah, so Peter, I believe we're entering a new era. So Civilization 1.0 was kind of the start of modern civilization. It was driven by the agrarian revolution. People were farmers, shopkeepers, carpenters. It was the age of the artisan, and the raw material was land. With the Industrial Revolution, it was 2.0, and it went from being the age of the artisan to the age of the corporation. The raw materials were energy and steel, and it was all about efficiency. We're now entering an era where the world's largest bookseller has no bookstores, the world's largest taxi company has no cars, the world's largest hotel has no real estate. So it's really the age of information and service. Now, when the world went from 1.0 to 2.0, there was massive, massive disruption, and only 7% of the 1.0 jobs were there in 2.0. So as we go from 2.0 to 3.0, there's going to be even bigger disruption, and perhaps the greatest wealth creation opportunity in human history, because the raw materials now are data and even imagination. Now, if you think about what were the skills that people had, you were plowing the fields and you were using your muscles in 1.0. In 2.0, it was all about optimizing and efficiency, and it was kind of your brain. 3.0 becomes the age of empathy, and so it's really about the heart and how you connect with people, how you empathize, and it's about what you can do. And Peter, you and I have always shared this philosophy that it's bigger than basketball. And so this sport gives us tremendous opportunity. It's a huge privilege, but with that privilege comes responsibility. And it's not enough just to be thinking about profit. We also have to think about purpose, and we have to think about how do we make the planet better, and how do we actually impact people's lives. And we've shared that philosophy that, yes, we all want to build a winning franchise, but then it's also important to impact the lives of those we touch in a positive way and make the world a better place.
I thank you very, very much for sharing both your philosophy and your heart. You really are a very authentic human being. Your feet, tongue, heart, and wallet all go the same direction, which is unique in this world. And I wish you great success in your continued journey, both with the Sacramento Kings, but not against the Warriors, but in the world and in basketball and in Asia and America. So thanks for letting me converse with you.
Well, thank you. Namaste to all. Thank you.